Good day, viewers. Welcome back to Common Ground Humanism with David Oliverio. That is I. About a year ago, I stumbled across a wonderful organization on YouTube, and they're called the Braver Angels. It's a movement, a wonderful movement that encourages others how to depolarize our country politically between the right and the left, between conservatism, Republicans, and liberal Democrats. And it flows right along with what I'm trying to do on my little channel, doing the same thing, building bridges between secular side and the religious side. Well, there was a story on their channel that I'd like to relay. They took three very, very conservative women who were definitely anti-abortion and pro-life. And then they took three very liberal women who were pro-choice. And they put them together weekly for meetings and dialogue. There was a moderator. So for 1 year, these 6 women with opposing views met together. The first few months of their weekly talks were not very productive. There was a lot of confrontation, a lot of discomfort, and not a lot of peace and getting along with others. But a year later, after weekly talks, they interviewed all 6 women. And interesting to know that all 6 women said in their interview that their beliefs did not change. In other words, the pro-choice women stayed the same and the pro-life women stayed the same. And their beliefs actually were reinforced, which was very surprising to me. Now, the good news is that all 6 women said that after weekly talks and meetings with their new friends, they have learned to develop a close relationship with these people. And they all said that they learned to love these women with different worldviews as close friends. Now, that was very encouraging to me. Now, what happened was they just saw that they have so much in common. Now, I've had many stories like that every weekend when I go out and talk to people, holding up signs in public places, and almost every day, whether I'm walking throughout the city streets here in Houston or riding the bus. I have dialogue with people all the time that are believers. And I tell them what I do, and most of them are very pleased what I do. But there was a man named John back in Austin who would approach me with when I was out with my humanist signs. And this is probably a year or two ago, before my wife and I moved here to Houston. And he would come by almost every Saturday morning and tell me the message of Jesus, trying to convert me, tell me where I was headed if I don't convert, right? And I tried to steer him in a different direction and find common ground, talk to him about things we had in common. Now, he would come out to the trail to run because he was a competitive runner. And I found there's something we have in common. I, as a retired semi-professional triathlete and duathlete, I shared that with him. So I would always try to find connections with John in these topics that we have similar. And I remember the last 2 or 3 weeks before we had moved from Austin that I was sharing with him the things we have in common. Now, here's what's interesting. The last time he came by, and the very last time I was out there with my humanist signs in Austin, he came up after I had told him, John, let's try to find the things we have in common and discuss those. The last week he came by, at the end of our little conversation, after we talked about his race training, his running, his upcoming race, because these were things that were very dear to me when I was racing in my racing years ago. And I retired in 2010 from racing, semi-professional. And the last day he came by, I said, hi, John, how's it going? How's your race training going? Now, normally he would bring up his Christianity and my humanism. and why I needed his belief system, right? Something happened. That day he said, well, actually, David, my training's going well. Thanks for asking. Thanks for the tips. And I'm also a retired personal trainer. Thanks for all the tips you've given me. Not once did he bring up our differences. Not once did he bring up his Christianity and why I need to believe like him. He actually looked at me and said, David, I've been thinking about what you told me the last few weeks. And I said, John, see, it's not that hard. So he left. I said, John, it's been very nice knowing you. And you have a wonderful life. I wish you and your wife and children well. And instead of telling me I need Jesus and he's praying for me and so forth, he turned around, looked at me and said, David, you have a wonderful time too, have a wonderful life, and have a great day too. And I said, John, see, it's not that hard, is it? He goes, no, I have to admit that you're right, David. Now, this is just one of many, many stories I could tell you of how you could find common ground and get along with people of a different worldview. It takes a little bit of work, it takes a little bit of patience. It takes a lot of empathy and compassion. So, thank you so much for watching, my friends, and remember to be kind to all and have a wonderful day.